Today I'm gonna talk about self-improvement and why it can be like a toxic roller coaster if you don't like control it to a certain degree and how much you take in, because it could feel like an endless loop of, oh, I need to improve in this, I need to improve in that. I'm not a perfect human being. So until I'm a perfect human being, I'm not allowed to go outside and have fun and this, that, and the third. Until I have a certain amount of income, until I have this job, I can't start my life. You know what I'm saying? And that's the trap that I feel like I'm running into. I've been running into for a while, and I think a big part of it is just taking initiative. It's like when you read a book, and you just reading it, you read it, taking all the information, but when it comes time to actually perform and do these actions, you got to be willing to do those actions. That's what creates the change. You understand what I'm saying? But if you out here improvement after improvement on how to get girls this way, how to improve your physique, when you get that six pack, when you got that physique, you're still gonna be the same person, right? You're still gonna be the same human being. It doesn't matter. Like, let me not say it doesn't matter the way you look, because it does matter. People will treat you differently based on how you look. I know you guys have witnessed that in your life. So I do believe there is levels of lookism. I do believe that. But at the same time, we're talking about us, ourselves, and we're being honest with ourselves. Have you ever seen like a fat dude or overweight girl or boy who has like changed their appearance and they look really good, but their self-esteem is still like low, or they have the body that they desire? Oh, they giving me the smoke right now. They have the body that they desire, but they're like still the same person. It's like they're still stuck in that old body. That's what happens when you work so much on the physical part aspect. And you don't work on your mind as well, right? You can look as good as you want, but if your mind isn't correlating with the way that you look, or it's being improved on itself actively, and I'm gonna talk, when I say actively, I mean like actually taking in those moments and reflecting and putting things into action, instead of just like, okay, I read about this, oh, I know what to do, and then you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Then you'll have that disconnect, like, yo, this guy is so amazing, but he lacks the confidence, or she lacks the confidence, because there's a disconnect between your body and your mind. You know what I'm saying? It's one. I really believe it's mind over matter, because the mind is what creates the body. Anything that you think about is what will come to life most of the times, right? Manifestation, whatever you want to call it, right? But I'm not talking about the heebie-jeebie kind, like if you think about money 24/7, you're going to get money. It doesn't quite work like that, right? And you don't do no actions, right? You have to actually put those thoughts into action. That's how you get the results that you want in life. And I could say for myself, I've been pretty good at doing that for me. But in regards of like the social aspects of things, I'm now starting to work on like being more social and being more direct, being more what's the word that my therapist used? Assertive, right? He said, you're a very kind person, but you need to work on your assertiveness, right? And assertiveness is something, if you haven't kind of trained that when you were little, or when you were in middle school and elementary school, high school, if you haven't trained that and you're growing up now being a nice guy, nice girl, people pleaser, then all of that is something you're gonna have to learn now in your adult years, and that can be extremely uncomfortable. At least it is for me, because it's like I'm not used to telling people, "Hey, man, I don't really agree with that," or like if they rub me the wrong way, I'm like, "Bro, what's going on? What's wrong with that? Like, why would you do something like that?" I'm not used to doing that, because there's a part of me that's afraid of conflict or things getting out of hand, and people like to shoot these days, especially people in our community. A lot of us can't handle conflict without it escalating to a whole nother level. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what scares me about the whole thing. That's why I usually keep the peace. But in doing that, there's a lot of problems, especially if you're in a relationship or you're seeing someone. When it comes time to bring up those problems, it can be extremely difficult. And I do a better job now. Before I was very like, all right, I'll just let shit roll, let shit rock, pardon my French, but it's like that's not productive, right? There's power in conflict, right? I highly, highly recommend you guys read The Courage to Be Disliked and No More Mr. Nice Guy. If you guys, I was gonna say, if you guys need the book for the free, hit me up, but I ain't gonna do that. Go support the artist. You know what I'm saying? But it is available on the internet for free. You just gotta know how to look it up. But those are two books that I recommend. I'm gonna read them again. There's also audiobooks as well. If you type it in and then you type audiobook on YouTube for each of those titles, they should pop up, right? With some good lookings. It shouldn't be too hard to find. But with that being said, bro, looking at another self-improvement video is not going to make you the person you want to be tomorrow. Like, it's not a secret pill that's going to make everything all right, just like in a snap. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making sense here, right? It's not like, it's similar to like people who think, oh, this secret diet is going to make me look good. This is going to make me look good. It doesn't work like that. You have to put a conscious effort into these things in order for it to work and improve your life. You get what I'm saying? Oh, he smoked me. He smoked me. And I'm cooking 23 and 11. But hey, it's not going to make your life better by just watching these videos. You know what I'm saying? You have to actually go out there and do something about it, right? That's why I'm a bit like people who are big planners and have no action are I don't like to associate myself with people like that. They're good friends, but I tend to look at like people, how they act, right? There's a big difference between talking versus action, right? I'm a big action oriented person, right? It's good to have dreams and things of that nature, but we have to actually act on these things, right? And if we don't do that, nothing will ever change for us, right? We all be like, oh, I want this amount of money. I want to be like this person. I want this lifestyle. I want this, da, 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 da. I want this girlfriend. And another thing, self-improvement, especially for my men, it's not going to automatically make you attractive to girls. Semen retention is not going to automatically make you attracted to girls. It's not going to boost your, what is that? Your magnetism, your aura. That's cap. All of that is cap, bro. That is cap. Who you are as a person is going to do all those things, right? And I feel like a lot of people do this semen, that, like all these extra tricks. This is how people make money on the internet. They make a bunch of self-improvement videos for people who are desperate to change. It's no different than, you know what I'm saying, selling like a pyramid scheme to people that don't know much about, you know, the pyramid scheme itself. You know what I'm saying? They just want to be like, okay, put $500 and you give the next person $500 and you know what I'm saying? Or you get into a Forex trading group where they don't even really trade. They just really, they get money off of the people that they get in by affiliates or the people that join the program, right? They don't actually do the skill. They just sell the skill, the lifestyle. They sell the lifestyle. It's not real, right? And that's how they're making money. These red pill, black pill people, that's how they're making their money, right? There are some points that I can agree with within both of those societies, but it's like there's most of it be like, my dude, how long are you gonna stay in this space where you like stay in the doomer cycle, you know what I'm saying, where you don't do nothing about your life. Life is just going to pass you by. I'm not going to lie, life can suck. It does suck sometimes, you know what I'm saying? I do feel like sometimes we do live on hell. You know what I'm saying? We live in hell. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like what you do in it can also influence how your life is as well, right? Not a lot of us have situations that we're born into that we can't control, and it kind of puts us in a bad starting position, but we can also like affect how we end up as well, you know what I mean? For the most part, there's people who, you know, have disabilities and aren't able to do the things that we're able to do, like walk, use their hands, but somehow they're still able to reach the heights and be happy. Like and that's always interesting to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, he doesn't have the ability to walk, or you know, someone has like Down syndrome or something like that, and they're still like, they can still be happy about their life. You know what I mean? Or they won't let that stop them from experiencing success in their life, what that looks like for them. So I think that self-improvement thing, it's great. It's a great start, but at some point we got to also vet the person that's giving the self-improvement tips as well, right? Because we know a lot of these red pill coaches, they be like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, women ain't did. And then they the same ones that have a girlfriend behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying? Or doing the same exact actions that they're not telling you to do, you know what I'm saying? They're telling you not to do. So you just gotta be very careful with this internet, because there's a lot of personas. There's a lot of personas, and you gotta really like look at the person inward and out. And some of them do a really good job hiding that, right? But it's like you gotta be able to think for yourself, have your own original thought as well. Like take that's another thing. Take the time to actually think about some of the things you're listening to. Don't just be like, oh, that makes sense, I'm gonna do it. Like, think about what that can look like, you know what I'm saying, if you apply some of these actions that these people are telling you to apply, right? Just like how you want to listen to a random person giving you unsolicited advice about nothing you asked about, is the same way you should do that online. Just because they have 500,000, 600,000, even me, vet some of the things that I'll be saying. Well, I like when y'all come to me and be like, hey, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that. As long as it's respectful, I'm cool with it. If once you get disrespectful about it, that's when I have a problem with it. But I don't have a problem with people disagreeing with me. That's awesome. I like the disagreement, because that gives me an opportunity to learn something about y'all, or something that I'm wrong about, or something, you know, just in general, or be able to rebuttal. Like, I like that. That gets me excited. You know what I'm saying? But once you get disrespectful about it, that's when I have a problem with the whole thing. You know what I mean? But that's really the thing that I wanted to talk about today. Self-improvement is a personal journey. Not everyone's self-improvement journey is going to look the same, right? It's not going to look... Bro said I'm wall hacking, and I'm not even paying attention to the game. Yo. That's insane. But yeah, self-improvement is your own journey. I popped a pimple under my chin. That's why I got these wipes right now. It was really like strong. I ain't gonna lie. That joint had a muscle on it, a bicep curl on that joint. Yeah, he sucks. I'm not worried about him. But yeah, self-improvement can look like a lot of things. One person I really recommend when it comes to self-improvement are people who feel like introverted, or they have a fear of being seen, things of that nature, or are experiencing similar problems that I talk about in my channel. One person I would really recommend watching is Christina Aaliyah. She has some very insightful, why am I flinging this in the air? She has some very insightful videos on those topics, and they're very good. And she also has a book as well. But those are the three things I would recommend, right? There's a lot of other sources as well. If you guys know any, please put it down in the comments. You know, I'm an open book. I like to learn things as well. But I've kind of like stepped away from constantly indulging every minute, like going to the gym, or I'm walking outside, I'm listening to a podcast. I'm doing cardio, I'm listening to a podcast. Like, that shit has to die. We have to kill that, because it's like we have to give space for our own thoughts to kind of ruminate and not look for the answers online. I know I'm not the only one that do this, and I'm about to admit this, and I'm not really fond that I do this, right? Whenever I would have a problem about something, right, I would go to the internet and type it up, or use ChatGPT. Like, am I wrong for feeling like this? And that is the craziest. Look at me. That is the craziest shit that I think that I do. Why am I going to ChatGPT to ask if the way I'm feeling is valid? That's crazy. That is crazy. So I realized that about myself, and that is a habit that I recently picked up. But every time I do it, I feel corny. I'm not gonna lie. I feel pretty bad. But I know there's people that do it, and I'm not saying it's a wrong way of doing it, but I think it robs you of being able to reflect with yourself. Because what if you don't have a ChatGPT? What if you don't have a Perplexity? What if you don't have any of these AI tools? Then what? How are you gonna be like, yo, the way I'm feeling, I feel this way, and it's okay that I feel this way. You don't have to get an external source to validate how you're feeling, right? That's a form of external validation, when you get that confirmation that, yeah, the way I'm feeling is valid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need that. If you feel the way you feel it for a reason, right? And you need to nip it in the bud. It could be a bad reason, it could be a good reason. It could be like a defense mechanism. It could be because something happened. There's always a cause. The law of cause and effect, right? It's not a habit I'm too proud of, right? And I've noticed that I'm done doing that. And I'm not afraid to admit that to you guys, because at the end of the day, I'm no perfect human being, just like any other guys, girls, gals here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just as human as anybody else. I don't try to be better than nobody else. I try to be better than who I was yesterday or the day before that. That's the only person I care to be better than. Damn, there's two of them at the window. But yeah, but it's like, it's stop making your life so hard by thinking you gotta be a new, especially for my anime watchers and stuff, right? And how we see our favorite characters change so quickly after after a training montage. You know what I'm saying? It inspires us to be like, damn, I want to be like this person. I want to be like that. I'm a heavy anime watcher, right? And it could spark these thoughts like, yeah, I want to be like Baki. I want to be like Guts. I want to be like this. I want to be like that, right? Or if you watch movies and you got a favorite character, same effect, right? But don't. These are fictional characters, right? We can adopt some of these mindsets, but we don't have to be like them. We can be like you. Be like you. Be like the best version of you. Whatever that means, you could adopt some of these principles that you like from your favorite characters in the anime, but it's not gonna look like whatever they do, right? It's always gonna, whatever you, god damn, they are giving us the smoke. Whatever whatever you determine to attribute and add to your life is gonna be a copied version of you trying to impersonate them. Even if you try to be like Chris Brown or Rema or Burna Boy, you're only going to be able to copy him so much. Even the Drake clones that you be seeing on TikTok, they can only copy him so much, right? And we can see what the original source is, right? I think trying to be someone else is kind of crazy because it kind of robs you of your identity in this life. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think a lot of people should like reel it back on the self-improvement, because that in itself is an addiction, right? If you are going throughout the entire day listening to podcasts, like one after the other, you tend to notice that they start to say the same shit. There's only so much self-improvement you can do. And it's like, bro, every time you get mad or something bad happens in your life, you want to go monk mode and this, that. It's like, that's cool and all, but it's like, think of these, try to reflect on why it is that these things are happening, because they keep happening for a reason, especially if there's like a pattern happening. It's happening for a reason, right? You'll be presented with the same issue over and over until that part of you changes, you know what I'm saying? And I believe that, because you won't go for things like that. There's a reason why it's being allowed, or you allow it in your life. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the video for today. I don't want to make this a long, drawn-out video, and I hope you guys, I would like to hear your points on this. Stop watching self-improvement. Stop obsessing with trying to be the best person in the planet, or trying to be the most ideal version of yourself today, tomorrow. Like, all parts of yourself deserves love, no matter what, even if you're not the best version of yourself. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that you're not allowed to have friends because you're not the version of yourself that earns $1 million a year or have a six-pack or this, that. Like, the people that accept you for who you are now, you know what I'm saying, unless you're a shitty person, are worthy of, like, are the ones that should stick around, right? And the ones that are there for the change as well and are able to stomach that, because that's not an easy process for a friend to witness, especially if they come from a very healthy background and they see their friend change right in front of them. There's going to be a lot of disagreement and conflict there, and a lot of what is the word I'm looking for, like back and forth. And if your friend could stomach that, not saying that they have to, right? Some will remove themselves for the situation, and some will, appreciate you for it. Like, yo, thank you for being honest, and kind of give you a clean slate. And I think people should do that, but they don't have to. You're not owed anything. They don't have to accept you for being a new person or trying to develop into a new version of yourself, after your firmware update. They don't owe you that. But if you have friends that are willing to be there for you after you go through this journey, or while you're going through this journey, because it's a lifetime process, right? It's not something that just happens and it stops. It's a lifetime thing, you know? But yeah, that's the video for today. I want to blab your ears off. I hope you guys have a good one. Yeah, 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 yeah.